this is Misha Calvert, and you're listening to Film on Tape, an audio library filled with everything I know about film and television, acting, writing, directing. Today, I decided to blast back to the past to my previous podcast to give you a very special episode. I used to run a podcast called Unlikely Protagonist with my friend Brett Epstein, and I thought this episode would be really interesting to share with you and to bring it on back from the archives. So this is an episode that Brett and I recorded with Erica Hart, who is a casting director and a very well-established and prolific casting director at that. She's based in New York. She's an incredibly nice woman, incredibly smart, and I really enjoyed our conversation with her. Some of her credits include a litany of Broadway shows. Most recently, she did Chicken and Biscuits, Death of a Salesman, and really, I'm fangirling at her film and TV credits. So she used to be at ABC, and then some of her recent work includes a Black Lady sketch show, Black Mirror, The Girls on the Bus, and most recently, the co-casting director on the EQUALIZER show. Her credits are absolutely insane. She is such a hard worker, and she's so down to earth and so cool. And I think you're really going to enjoy this conversation as much as I did. Now, my audio is not great. I think I was recording, I'm pretty sure, in a closet. It's not going to be the same quality as our normal episodes, but it's completely worth it for the wisdom that Erica shares about how to create an audition that books, how to be cool as an actor and not overstep, be just the right amount of in touch with casting directors, and also general wisdom on how to maintain your joy, your inspiration, your creative spirit. Special thanks to my co-host, Brett Epstein. He's also a very talented actor, writer, producer, and just all around really impressive multi-hyphenate creator. It was wonderful to be able to have that conversation with him there. Be sure to listen to the end, because at the end of this interview with Erica, I say something on the air that I have never said before. We'll see what you have to think about that, but I hope you enjoy this episode. It's so long and juicy, and you really get that insider perspective from a working, award-winning, big deal casting director. Enjoy.
Lovely to see you, Erica. I'm a huge fan.
As am I. I'm a huge fan of yours.
Oh, I'm tickled. Misha and I just started this podcast, and my impetus for wanting you on, Erica, was that, as both of you know, I've been curating and hosting these invite-only workshops with industry folks that I know and love myself, and that included both of you. And one of the reasons I love having you, Erica, is the way you interact with the actors, which to me seem really organic and insightful while never losing that approachable, relatable human touch. So not only me as the host of those events, but the actors in the room, you make us feel like your ally, your partner. And to me, that's a special trait. So is that assessment in line with how you see yourself as well?
I would hope that's how I'm being perceived. And thank you again for having me. I think I just want any situation that I'm in, be in an audition room, being in a workshop, being in a one-on-one, being whatever, I just want it to be comfortable, because I think that's when you get your best work. I think this whole situation, be it in Zoom or in person, is just very unnatural and very nerve-wracking, not only for you, but for me too. I think a lot of actors think that they're the only person nervous on the other side. We're nervous too, because we want you to do well. And you're like our children, even though like a lot of people are older than me or like younger than me, it doesn't matter. We want you to do well. So we're nervous for you. I can't speak for everybody else, but I would think a lot of people want to make this as enjoyable as possible or as comfortable as possible. And I'm going to lead with me first. I'm going to lead with who I am first, but I'm not going to put on a weird mask to try to be someone else. I've known myself for 31 years and I am who I am, and that's who I'm going to lead with. And if that is someone who is hopefully warm and kind and a human being, a decent human being, then that's what I'm going to lead with.
Yeah, it's interesting you use the word mask. Like, I had a note here when I was just coming up with some questions. Like, I used the word wall. Like, you don't have a big wall up when we're around you in those workshops.
Yeah, it doesn't help anybody. I think when I do workshops or even in auditions, people are like, wow, you're so real. And it's like, as opposed to plastic, so it's just, I don't know what else to be. And when they're like, thank you so much for being truthful, it's like, well, I don't want to lie. I don't want to have you go down a wrong path. So I'm just trying to be myself.
Yeah, I love that. And
I think that authenticity is sadly rare. It resonates a lot with me because it's really hard for me to be someone that I'm not, in spite of the fact that I have been acting my whole life. Separate, leave the role playing for the acting roles. But I'm curious, Erica, if I may. I'm so excited to be talking with you. How did you get your start in casting? And I'll say too that with Unlikely Protagonist, we really focus on your hero's journey, because a lot of people, they just see this gatekeeper and they don't realize there was a whole journey to get there with, it wasn't always glitz and glamour from what actors see, but there was trials and tribulations to get where you are.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, yeah, it's interesting because I was just talking to a friend of mine who's staying with me about how most people don't know that I have this huge dance background, that was a huge part of my life. I'd be in, studios for 12 hours on end, but you create a career for yourself and people just see you as that one thing. And that is your moniker. That is your definition as this one thing. But when it comes to casting, I went to film school. I went to NYU for film school. And this all happened, I would say, within 2 months. This whole journey through casting happened within 2 months. I went into film school. I thought I was going to be a director. Not to say that I'm still not one, but I was like, okay, I'm going to direct my own films. I'm going to be that. And I don't know if they do this on purpose, but I feel like they try to scare you away from being a director because everybody wants to be a director. And so I drank the scared Kool-Aid and I was like, oh, maybe I don't want to do that. And so then I was like, well, I'm good at editing. I've edited, for years. Maybe I want to be an editor. And the thought of me by myself in a dark room really didn't feel good either. And again, this all happened within a couple of months of first year of college. And a former classmate of mine, a friend of mine, one of my first friends in college, decided she wanted to make a film outside of the curriculum. 18 years old. We were like, yeah, let's do it. We have no idea what we're doing, but let's do it. And she was very adamant on the fact that everyone had their specific jobs. So she was the director, you are the writer, you are the producer, because a lot of student filmmaking, independent filmmaking in and of itself, when you are the director, you do everything. But she was very adamant. She was like, I just want to direct. And so we printed out a crew list because we were 18 and months into film school. We had no idea what anything meant. And we printed out a crew list. And the second to last thing was casting director. And with my knowledge of a dance background, I was like, well, I have a dance background. I've choreographed pieces. I've put them in. I kind of know what this thing is. I didn't necessarily think it was a career. I just knew that there was someone behind a table that looked at headshots and put people in things. So I was like, well, I can try to do that. And that's what it was. And while people were trying to be the best director, the best writer, the best producer in film school, since it's, competitive to a degree, I was in this corner doing that thing. And that's kind of what people saw me as. It was like, oh, you're the girl that did that thing for that film. Can you do that thing for my film? And so I kind of had a monopoly going through college, and literally from October of 2008 until May of 2012, my college career, that's what I was doing. And I cast everyone's thesis my senior year. When I'm really overwhelmed and have a lot of things to do, I'll go back to February of 2012. And I'll look at 1 week in particular, because I was casting 20 thesis films while running 2 dance companies and having an internship and, being a full-time student. And so there were moments where I was 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. And thank God everything was in the same building, because I had a dance rehearsal downstairs. I would come back up. I would go 30 minutes in one room, 30 minutes in another room, go back down to the rehearsal. It was insane. But when you're 22, you think you rule the world. And I thought I could rule the world.
It sounds like you did.
I tried. It was pretty insane. I don't suggest anyone doing that, but that's how I got started. And then I interned at NBC, and then I started freelancing at ABC, and then I was promoted to full-time. I stayed there for a handful of years, and then I left in 2018. I was Meredith Tucker's associate for 2 years, and then the pandemic happened, and then September of 2020, I got a call from HBO Max asking me to cast this sketch show called That Damn Michael Che. And then here we are today.
We love That Damn Michael Che. I had a small role, Misha, on that.
You did.
Thank you, Erica. So cool. Actually, so off of that, Erica, so, looking at the IMDb over here, I love she has been casting for over a decade and has loved every minute of it. So why do you love every minute of it? And how do you stay open to experiencing the love of it during the difficult moments?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think the thing that makes me love it are I think it's the actors, right? Like, I think what you all do is magnificent and extraordinary, and honestly is a real big reason why I think a lot of casting directors love the job. Because I believe you all make the words pop, you all make the words move, you all make the words different, you all make the script what it is. And so, especially now, during this wonderful, crazy time where things have shifted into the virtual sense, I'm seeing more tapes than I've ever seen in my life. So I'm seeing a lot of tapes. I'm getting to know a lot more actors. And I think with that being said, every copy, every piece of a side, be it one line or a whole, scene or 5 scenes, it's just so interesting to see so many choices being done, so many new things being done. Because I'm not going to lie to you. I've seen, when I'm in the thick of casting, especially for a show like that, where it's 30 roles, at least 30 roles per episode, I'm seeing, I'd say every other day, at least 1,000 self-tapes.
Yep.
Right. So, it's just refreshing when you get a self-tape or you get an audition where someone just completely changes it. And it's the same lines, but completely changes your thought. And it's like a refresher. I was talking to a casting director and I was like, I wish there were coffee beans. When you go into like a department store,
palette cleanser,
smell all the perfume. Yeah, you smell the perfume. Like, it's like, because they're like, how do you do it? And honestly, the palette cleanser is when you see something fresh and new. And you see an actor do something in a new way. And those are the coffee beans. It's like, ooh, okay, and we're back, I
have a question about that. I'm wondering for you, how often do the palette cleansers get the role?
Oh, that's a really good question.
It breaks up your day. It makes the job,
breaks
exciting.
Up my day.
But how often do they book with that?
They do book.
The coffee beans booking.
They do book. I'm thinking about one actor in particular. It was a small co-star. It was when I was doing Bust Down, which will be coming out March 10th. I don't know when this will premiere, but March 10th on Peacock. I was doing the Bust Down over the summer last year. Yeah, it was the summer. All the days are like coming together. But there was a guy that was a palette cleanser and he booked the job. I don't know that's such an interesting question. I don't know what the statistical breakdown of that, but I don't know, because at the end of the day, it's not my decision. I don't get the last say. It's not, sometimes it's not even the producers or the showrunners' last say, because we still have to, if it's TV or a big budget project, we still have to send it up for approval. So that studio and the network have to approve, So I'm the first stop on this train. And, we could talk about this later about the wins and how many steps it takes to get that yes for waiter number 1, and so that's why you have to hold on to the victories every step along the way. But that's a really interesting question. I would probably say not as often as I would think, but not ever, if that makes sense.
And at the very least, if they're doing something fresh and authentic, you're going to remember it.
Oh, and that's what the thing is. I was talking to an actor friend of mine, and we were saying how the job is the audition, right? The cherry on top of this long cake that takes so many years to process is the booking, right? And booking, yes, is important. You get the coin, you get the thing on the resume, you get the footage, you get that. But if you have an audition every single week out of the year, that's 52 auditions, right? You're probably not going to book those 52 jobs. Maybe you'll book 1. Maybe you'll book 4. Heck, maybe you'll book 52. But the probability of you booking 52 jobs is not in your favor. But the probability of you booking that room And maybe out of those 52 auditions, that same casting director brought you in 20 times. That is a victory. Because like you said, you might have not booked the job, but you booked the person to bring you in, hopefully for multiple auditions. And that's important because multiple casting directors are working on multiple things. Casting directors are talking to each other. There are many a times where I get an email from a casting director being like, hey, I don't know if you know this person, but this person just came in and whoa. And so that's our job. Our job is to talk. Our job is to see. Our job is to look, and that's what's important. And so just realize that if you've been seen by a casting director multiple times throughout the years, even if you're like, oh, I haven't been seen by this casting director in so many years, and then you get an audition, right? And then that person then brings you in again and again. You're doing the right thing. You're on the right track.
I think every actor in our audience who heard that there's a possibility that casting directors are talking about them favorably to each other, that their egos just exploded.
It's 100% true. I'll go to a play and I'll see someone and be like, yo, have you seen this play? If not, you need to go because so-and-so is doing the work on that stage, honey. And so it's important. It's important. It's a small world. New York is small. It's huge. There's so many millions of people living here, but it's a small community. Yeah. And so people talk, and that goes good and bad. People talk. It's a good thing, but people talk is a bad thing. So.
Yeah, that sparks within me just hearing the words fresh and authentic. It makes me, like an actor like myself who could be a little off kilter, it makes me feel like, oh, I can shine free, like shine bright. It's my time. Yes. Like be now, but authentically, because we also see, I mean, at least me in the workshops, you see actors who, it's different, but it's not authentic.
That's the part.
They're like, let me desperately pop. Desperate. No, actors. No. Just be yourself. Yeah.
Be yourself, because we can smell that a mile away.
Yeah.
When people, we want big, bold choices. Big, bold choices is when people are like, what do you want? Big, bold choices. And that is code for being yourself. You coming in and being like, I'm going to do this my way is a big, bold choice in and of itself. So when you have an actor who is like, okay, I know it says to cry and everyone's going to come in to cry, but I'm going to do the complete opposite because I'm going to be different. It's like, no, that's probably not what's authentically happening. However, on the flip side, if you're reading the side and it's like, she cries out of grief and you're like, you know what? I personally would probably laugh at this moment. Like, then that's the big, bold choice because that is authentic to you. But you just saying, I'm going to do the opposite to make a point and to stand out.
Yeah.
That is the thing that we can smell a mile away. And that usually when people are like, oh, you're being too big, when actors hear that, especially in New York, because it's a theater city, most of the time when they're saying, well, all the time, I would say, when they're saying you're being too big, when it's, theater, film and TV, most of the time they're just saying they see an actor. Right? And we don't necessarily want to see an actor when we're watching film and we're watching TV. It's a voyeuristic experience. We wanted to see two people at a coffee shop that just happened to be talking and I'm just happening to be there and looking at your conversation. So I think when you do things just to do things and to do it to disrupt the space, that is something that is just like, oh, okay. I don't see you. If anything, I don't know who I see. I just see an actor.
So speaking of stage, Chicken and Biscuits and Passover, talk about two astonishing Broadway casting debuts, Erica.
Yes, my Broadway debut.
Wow, with those two. What were those processes like and what did you take away from those experiences?
Oh, they were amazing. It was an amazing process for both of them, to be quite honest. I don't think I've ever felt more connected to a team in that way. Both teams, to be quite honest. It was an interesting time because I was hired for Passover first, but, I was hired for Chicken and Biscuits first, but Passover premiered first. So Passover was technically my Broadway debut, and then Chicken and Biscuits came about 2 months later. And it was funny because Passover closed when Chicken and Biscuits opened. Right. It was crazy. But it was an amazing time. It was a crazy time because I was casting both at the same exact time. Passover was special because I got to collaborate with Daniel Swee and Camille Hickman from Lincoln Center, and they are complete legends and icons in the casting realm. in New York and in the world, to be honest. So I just learned so much from them. And then with Chicken and Biscuits, working with Jalen and Douglas Lyons, and then on Passover, working with Danya, I've never felt supported like I did in a creative process and open and a collaboration. And it was just beautiful, especially for coming to Broadway for the first time. I've done theater. I did a lot of stuff with the National Black Theater, which was a godsend. Did a lot of stuff with the Drama League, which was a godsend. This was the first like whack at Broadway and learning different things. And I learned a lot from Dave Kapp, because when I was at Meredith Tucker's, we would share an office. So just watching him work and his associate Joe Gary, just watching them work was something that I used as a backbone. But it was a beautiful process and something that I'll always take with me. And yeah, it was just fantastic, especially to work with people that looked like me, you know, with projects that were rooted in the Black experience. Both projects, like 2 Broadway shows that were rooted in the Black experience, 2 different Black experiences, but still rooted in that, was something that usually does not happen. And I was lucky enough to have it happen to me twice at the same time.
Gorgeous.
Erica, a lot of our, relating to the theater bit, a lot of our audience is actors, and a lot of them have theater training, and they're transitioning some completely away from theater into film and TV, or some just building film and TV. Do you have any advice for how to make that transition from stage training into building a film and TV career?
I think the number one thing that I see actors who come from stage to try that go to screen, they decide that to throw out the baby with the bathwater, and they decide to try to throw away all the tools, or they think they think they need to throw away all of their theater training out the window to then go into film and TV. And that couldn't be any more false, right? Like, I think the thing that makes a New York actor is the training, is the fact that you go to class, is the fact that you read books. Like, it's a craft that you all take very seriously, where some other actors in the other coasts might not. I'm not saying anything, but I'm just saying, like, that is the thought when people think of the New York actor.
LA illiterate? No.
No, not at all. I'm not saying, there are many LA actors that are in class or whatever, but if we were going to put a stamp on that, that's why people say the New York actors, like, ooh, you're from New York. It's like, wow, you've done the work. And so I think it's very important to keep that going, to stay in class, to stay reading books, to stay watching things. I think that is the poor man's class, is to watch as many movies, TV shows as you can, and see, oh, look how that person is listening, right? I think that's something that I think is an amazing thing to think about, is when actors listen and you see them listen and you see them digest what the other person is saying. I think that's where the magic happens. To me, magic happens in the transitions, and it happens in the listening. Of course, what you're saying is important, but how you get there, I think, is the magical piece. So yeah, I think it's like, okay, so I'm going to take my theater training from stage and I'm going to throw it out and I'm going to figure out a way. It's finding those tools in your toolbox, moving them around, shape-shifting them in a way so that it is in that screen. And again, it's not being too big. It's literally just, as we were saying, being your authentic self in those words. Because again, it's a voyeuristic experience. If I'm watching Inventing Anna, I'm sitting right next to Anna Shlumsky as she's on her computer typing away, right? If I'm watching any movie, I for some reason I can't think of one movie in my mind right now.
Die Hard.
I'm sitting next to Die Hard. Great. I'm climbing. Oh, my boyfriend would be very excited. I'm climbing the building with John McClane. Right. I don't know how he would be so excited that I know what that means. But yeah, you know what I mean. So it's very important that you still root it in your training. You still take the tools in the toolbox to make it work, but just make it work in the medium that you're going in for.
Can I jump in for 1 second and just tell you that I love coaching people? I've been doing it for over a decade, working with high net worths, executives, a lot of actors, a lot of writer-directors, people looking to activate their creativity. I freaking love it. The thing that I like most about it is that we really, really get results, whether that's bringing in 5 or 6 figures more of income, if it's getting signed by a manager or an agent, if it's booking a Broadway show I have helped my clients do all of these things. You can find out more at clubvermilion.com, or you can always send me an email at info@clubvermilion.com. I would love to speak to you on the phone about it. You can sign up for a free call. So wherever you want to get to, I would love to help you get there. Okay, back to the show.
And Erica, so let's say if and when you see an actor go south or not use it or not listening or they're trying too hard or it's too, what tools do you use to bring them back to get it right? Oh, if you even can, because now we're sending self-tapes. If you see a tape gone wrong, can you reach out to them and say, dude, let me keep it real, try it again? Or do you just say, no, you missed this one, next actor?
I've done it. But the thing about it is, it's all about time. There's this weird, it's so interesting. When there's something new that happens, rumors come out, right? And so the new rumor, or I guess it's not so new, I think it's a couple months in, this rumor that goes around that says, like, if you submit your tape before the deadline, you're going to automatically book. I don't know where that rumor came from, but that is nowhere further from the truth.
What a weird rumor.
But I think how it turned, because, it's like a game of telephone. It's like we're in 4th grade and we're playing a game of telephone. I think how the game started was, and how I would like to say, is if you turn your tape in before the deadline, there is time for me, like Brett said, to call you up and say, like, yo, dude, we need to do this again, right? However, if you submit it by the deadline or after the deadline, I might not have that time to call you up and say, yo, dude, do this tape again. And this actually happened fairly recently. A woman turned in the tape, and I was like, ooh, you are putting on a character. I know you personally, and this is you. All I have to do is you. So I literally slid in her DMs, and I said, I need you to do this again. Mm-hmm. I didn't unfortunately have time to go through a rep, so I just slid in her DMs, and I said, I need you to do this again. I need you to just be yourself. And she was like, yeah, you're right. I was being Regina Hall in Scary Movie. I was like, yeah, I don't need you to be Regina Hall in Scary Movie. I've seen Regina Hall in Scary Movie. She's fantastic. I need to see you as you in this. Mm. And she did it again, and it was great. Because also you have to realize that this is all subjective. Like, there is no right choice. It's just a choice, because your choice could be closer to what that director sees, or it could be closer to what that producer sees. There's so many people that have to say yes, that's why you just have to walk in and do the thing.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that thing could resonate with one person and that's enough. Or that thing could resonate with all 5 people. Or that thing could resonate with, like, nobody. But then I send it and they're like, actually, that doesn't work for that, but that works for this. And we'd love to cast them for this. And I didn't even know that this was a thing. Because they're working on 3 episodes down the line. And I don't know. Try not to think about what's right, because there is no right. There's just what it is. Because it's all subjective. It's a dinner party. I liken it to a dinner party. You're at a dinner party. I'm hosting said dinner party. And 5 people walk in, which are usually the producers or the writers or the showrunners or the directors. You have one person who wants the chicken. You have one person who wants the steak. You have one person who already had a big lunch, so they're not eating. You have one person who's a vegan, and you have one person who's on a juice cleanse. What are you gonna do? Here's some water. Bye. Like, I don't know what to do with you. Yeah. You can't appease everyone. And it's just like, well, I'm gonna put these dishes out. It's what you like is what you like. And that's what it is. You can't walk in thinking, what do they want? What do they want? Because they don't know what they want. They usually don't. Yeah. You're their first step along this long journey into night, right? Like, you're their first stop. Your job is to show them what they want.
I wanted to ask about something, Erica. You mentioned sliding into the actors' DMs, going above and beyond, frankly, for that, which is so cool. But I'm wondering about protocol with communication. And I know as a writer-director, when someone is, like, overly familiar or trying to DM me, like, personal stuff, I get so uncomfortable. How do you recommend baseline protocol for staying in touch with casting directors or sending materials, or what's your protocol?
It's interesting, because I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth right now, because I think that's what it is. It's hard. It's tricky, because I am the one person to say, shoot your shot. You never know, because a lot of people who I have mentored or I have started relationships with or, brought in even have started via my DMs. I would not lie to you. Recently, I brought in a woman who just slid into my DMs and I was like, I looked at her reel and she was funny and I was like, great. And she didn't book it, but she was in the top 3 of when I sent off to producers, and I called her in for a commercial. She didn't book it, but she was in the selects, of the producers that I sent her stuff along, and she was always somebody that producers called out. So I'm not knocking that doesn't work. It works all the time. I would be lying to say, oh, I never look in my DMs and I never call in anybody for my DMs, so don't even try. Like, you know what I mean? So you have to do it. If someone is on Instagram, someone's on Facebook, reach out. That's what it's there for. It's social media. Be social. However, let's turn it, right? And look at the other side and realize that there are situations that people get a little touchy and it gets a little uncomfortable. I always go back to when someone asks me a question, I usually go back and ask them that same question. So it's like if someone's like, hey, so I'm an actor, how would you like to be contacted? Or how would someone like to be, you would want someone to stay in touch with you? I usually go back to them and I say, well, if I was a budding actress and I saw your web series at a festival, or I saw your film at a film festival, or I saw an episode that you were in, and I was like, you know what, this person looks like me, or this person it has the same trajectory as I do, or it comes from my same hometown or whatever, I want to reach out to that person. How would you want them to reach out to you? I think keeping up with a casting director or a producer or a writer, I think it's very smart, but doing it in a way that makes sense. Maybe not message them every day. I think that is a little too much. Maybe message them when there's something new and exciting. And it doesn't have to be, I am now a series regular on the new Dick Wolf show. That doesn't have to be the new exciting update. It could be, I got called back for this. I tested for this. I booked a co-star. I'm in a play. I got new headshots. Whatever is new, let somebody know about it, because also when I'm in my DMs or if I'm on Instagram or Facebook at 2 a.m. and I scroll and I see and I'm like, oh, there she is. Total. Yep. You're going on the list, So that's why it's a hard question to answer, because I do want people to reach out to me, because sometimes my brain is on autopilot and I'm not necessarily thinking about certain things. And then when I'm in Instagram, I'm like, oh yeah, boom, put you on the list. But then at the same time, you have to do it in a respectful manner, and you have to do it in a conscious manner, and you have to do it in a way that just feels right. I have some people in, like you were saying, Misha, some people in my DMs who I feel like want to be like my best friend, and it's like, I got some best friends. I'm good. 2007, no new friends, and it's a hard thing because, yeah, I think just do the work. Let the work stand for itself. Send your reel, send your headshot. If something comes out of it, great. If a couple months go by and you're like, you know what, I'm going to send my new headshots, that's great. But just try not to be in someone's DM every week, every day, every other week even. I would say send it, let the dust settle for a couple of weeks, for a couple of months maybe, and then revisit as time goes by.
You're one of the nicest casting directors I've ever met in my life. You're just so magnanimous about this.
That's what it is for, right? Like this whole business is a business of middle people, like I'm the middle person between the actor and the agent and the actor, right? And then you got the actor and the producer, and then the producer and the network, and like everything is a middle person. And like you said, there's a wall up, there's a gate up, and you got social media and it's free and I'm here and you DM me and that's what it is, So you got to do what you got to do, but you also have to realize that we're two people trying to do what we're trying to do. And so respect is important and consideration is important, I think.
Well, it makes me wonder, like for both of you, are you both telling me that the same actor DMs you daily or weekly, annoyingly, and they have no awareness?
Yes.
Wow. Well, that's. And
it's not vicious. It's not vicious at all. It's not vicious at all. And sometimes I have to check myself and like talk to people and say, am I being mean? Like, am I being a terrible person by being, and it's annoying. It's not, again, I'm not being I don't hate this person or these people. I don't dislike them even. I still bring them in, to be quite honest.
Boundaries.
It's boundaries. And it's a bit annoying sometimes. It's just like, you know, you're getting the notifications time after time after time, and you're like, oh, okay, wow. Okay, cool. But if you're sending the same thing over and over again.
That's what I was going to ask. What are they saying?
Oh, God, all sorts of stuff.
All sorts of things.
Really?
But some of them just, I feel like, want to be friends with me.
Oh, okay.
And they're not sending anything that has to do with acting at all.
I want to be friends with you.
I mean, I do too, but I mean...
No, but like it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing because I'm just like, it's not malicious. It's not mean.
No.
You're not saying any mean things. But then you have the people who are sending their headshot day after day. Hey, or they'll send, you know, so when are you going to be calling me in? Or things like that. Ooh. And I think that is a little tricky. Like that borders on a little...
The entitlement, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting land in my DMs. I will definitely say it's an interesting land in there.
You're reminding me of one quick interaction I had with you on social media. Now that I think about it, that is like an example I think that people can take of like smart ways and reasons to reach out to people. Like Erica and I just organically became Facebook friends. Like, don't ask me how, but we're now Facebook friends. Great. Done. Okay, then I get this audition for a show Erica's casting. I happen to it was Michael Che. I already was on it. I go, I wonder if it's just a mistake. I mean, they can't cast as me again if I was already on it. Let me email the representation. No response from rep. Now, meanwhile, I want to memorize. I want to film it. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste anyone's time. I go, no, fuck it. Erica went to Erica's DMs. Erica, is this a mistake or am I cool? Erica, really fast. You're cool. We can cast the same actor. Go do it. Done. Easy. Reason to reach out, reason to connect with Erica, and now I'm going to get to work and do the audition and, you know, not wait for the rep to answer, which wasn't going to happen. Maybe it was the weekend or something.
That's what this is for. You know, that's what this is for. And that's totally fine. I think that happens all the time, especially with this show, because it's a sketch show and people don't know if you're on, you can be on it again in a different role. But yeah, I think that's totally fine. And honestly, being friends is totally fine too. It's just, again, figuring out if this were to be reversed and this is on you, would that feel comfortable for you? If the answer is yes, then baby girl, keep going. If the answer is no, then maybe let's talk about it and maybe like let's stop.
Yes, and I think as I get older and just am in the business longer, in more years, it's just you learn some of that, and it's I think what some actors push too much is that, again, I'm using that word desperate, they feel like they need, with a capital N, something from you. They need it, they want it, or they paid for the fucking workshop, and I need it, I'm desperate, and they can't just turn it around and say, I'll be damned if I just chill the fuck out and am totally Brett Epstein to the T, that's gonna be the win. It's that they need something, they feel like they need something from you, Misha, you, Erica, and you know what I mean? And that sometimes I've seen it take over.
Yeah.
Well, and also that's kind of an old model. When I'm coaching actors about career, I like to say that they're all trying to get to the rainbow, what you were just describing, Brett, the rainbow of the gatekeepers, the magical, mythical decision makers. So like, if I could just get to the rainbow. But what they don't understand is, especially now more than ever, the rainbow is forever accessible. You can always contact somebody who is in a position to give you a job. You can contact the most important people, actually, if you just work at it and figure it out. But what most people don't do is I like to say they are not getting the clouds ready. Like underneath the rainbow, there's the clouds. Are your clouds even ready? Is your craft ready? Are your materials ready? And if you spend all that time exactly getting the clouds to where they need to be, every person who can give you a job is just an email or a DM away.
Mm.
I love that. And also, I think something that other people see is, and I think that's another thing that's happening in the DMs, is like, oh, you've done this for this person, so you can do this for me. Mm. And I think that it needs to be addressed because, yes, there is a rainbow. And yes, there is that person that got to the rainbow, that's their path, right? If you try to move on that road, it's not going to work for you. Try another road, right? That does not mean that it's going to work for you. And what you just said about being a DM or whatever, I have now said that whatever you want in life, be it as an artist, if you are a casting director, an actor, a writer, a producer, a grip, whatever it may be, You are always one job away from exactly what you want. If you want fame, you are one job away. If you want to be on Broadway, you are one job away. If you want just to be a working actor, you are one job away, right? And so I think, like you said, getting those clouds in place so that when that time comes, because that's another thing that people don't realize. Oh, I want to book a series regular. Okay, but are you ready? Are you ready for that booking?
Yeah.
Because it's not just one little boom, bye, boom. You know, you book a series regular, you might be on a show for 7 years. You might, it's like, oh, but I am ready. But are you though? Are you though? And so we're thinking, very much of just one thing, where one thing could go off into space and you are flying on that comet. You are flying on that rocket. So yeah, I just say, try not to compare yourself to others. Try not to put yourself in other people's shoes, because those shoes ain't gonna fit, Cinderella.
I think that's the soundbite for this episode.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do fit, and you're gonna boogie down at the ball. But yeah, just do you. I think that's just so important. Is just do you and worry about you, and keep going and don't stop. And I know that's very woo woo, but no one can make your path except for you. No one can know what it is to walk in your shoes except for you. And I know there's a lot of stuff happening, and you gotta tie bow it away and kick it, box it away. But just keep on that path, and it's gonna happen. It might not happen. I was looking at a thing with Ariana DeBose, and she said, it might not have turned out the way I wanted it to turn out, but it doesn't mean that didn't turn out. And there are a lot of people that are like, I wanted to be an actor, but now I'm an award-winning costume designer. I wanted to be a director, but now I'm a casting director. I wanted to do this, but now I'm doing this. I wanted to do this, and now I'm doing this, and I didn't even know I was going to be able to do this, right? And so I think just don't be the person to say no. That's another thing that I've learned, is everybody's going to tell you no, right? You're going to hear no's all around the way. But you can't be that person to say no. And that's why I'm saying I'm talking out both sides of my mouth. If you're like, I don't know if I should slide into Misha's DMs. I don't know. Why are you holding yourself back? Just do it. If you're doing it in a respectful, kind way.
Yeah, make it good.
Nothing's good. And right? But don't be the, I don't know if I should submit to this. Why? I don't know. I don't know if I should submit. Why are you holding yourself back? There are going to be people that tell you no all the time. You can't be the person to say no. You have to be the person to wake up every morning and say yes. Yes, I'm going to do this. Yes, I'm going to push through. Yes, I'm going to do whatever whatever comes to my mind, and whatever makes me not feel uncomfortable or scared. Or sometimes you need to be scared. But just be the person that says yes and just push through on your path.
Absolutely. That's beautiful.
Because we could talk for hours about it, because what's so fascinating is, right, somehow, again, organically, the way the three of us are built, that all makes sense. There are some actors or people, forget actors, people whose versions of normal are just different. They're different. Yes. They would never understand. Well, what do you mean? So I sent Erica a message every day. What's the problem? And it's so fascinating to see people in the industry just have different definitions of comfort, of respect, different literal definitions of common sense.
Well, it's different when you're in the picture.
Yeah.
Right? When you leave the picture and you look at it, and then you're like, oh, maybe not. But when you're in it, like you said, when you're just so in it and you're thinking about this one thing, it's crazy. It's crazy. But once you leave the picture and you look out, then maybe you have some hindsight. Self-awareness is the sexiest thing in the world.
Oh, yes.
Yes. It's the sexiest thing in the world.
Amen.
And when someone does not have self-awareness, I can't deal with you at the moment.
And I will say, too, I've noticed it's a pretty wild time for mental health. The baseline, I think, has shifted. And my grace for other people's, and to a certain extent my own, although I really work on being grounded, I try to give a lot of people grace right now for just pretty extreme behavior. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering, in this anxious period of human civilization, Erica, how have you helped to stay sane, stay grounded, stay positive? What are some of your mechanisms and tools for that?
Ooh, Lordy. It's hard. It's a daily struggle. Daily, weekly, minutely, hourly struggle. I've been through an interesting time during this pandemic. Personally, dealing with loss and dealing with grief and dealing with things like that. I think for me, in the morning, you get up, you put 10 toes down, or how many toes you have, and you just say, I am here today. That is what I do. I say, I am here today. We all go to sleep. That is a part of the human experience. We all go to sleep. Some of us are lucky enough to wake up in the morning, and some of us are not. But if you are one of the lucky ones to wake up in the morning, then you're doing something, and to go do it, whatever it may be. And sometimes you can't put those 10 toes or how many toes you have on the floor. Sometimes you have to stay in bed. And trust me, I know what that feels like. And I'm not going to say that didn't happen last week or the week after, So sometimes you have to stay in bed, and that's fine. But realize that sometimes you can't stay in bed forever. Get out of bed. I put the toes on the ground. I take one deep breath in, let it out, and I say, I'm here today. And whatever today is what's today going to do. Today is yesterday's tomorrow, and today is tomorrow's yesterday. So you gotta just keep going, keep pushing until you can't. And then you get back into bed and you pull the covers in and you take your time, and then you get back up and you try it again.
Love that. I really love that. Honestly, I thought that was a fabulous kind of closing thought, because it's uplifting and it just is real. And it reminds everyone listening that, we cannot predict really what the day is going to be like, or tomorrow, or anything at all. Just goddamn do it. Try to do it. And if you can't, goddamn
do it.
Goddamn do it, honey. And if you can't, get back in the bed, and then try it again very soon after that.
Then try it again soon after
That's
that.
it.
Drink some water. Drink some water. Go outside. And I think this talk with mental health is a beautiful thing, but just realize that, like everything we're talking about, sometimes the shoe doesn't fit for you either with the mental health. Sometimes, me putting 10 toes down on the ground, maybe that doesn't work for you, and that's okay. Maybe you're the type of person that needs to do a full meditation. Maybe you're the type of person that needs to have a piece of cake before you start the day. Whatever it is that makes you happy, do it, babe. Do it. Because that's what makes you happy. And if you are happy in this world, or you find joy, not happiness, if you find joy, whatever your journey is to find that joy, keep on that journey. And try not to think of like, oh, this person did this thing. This person does this thing. This person practiced with this person. This person has this spiritual coach. I'm going to do that. I'm not saying that that's not going to work for you, but at the same time, you got to find whatever brings you joy and follow that to the rainbow of Candyland, because that's what it is.
What a perfect message for our protagonist listening.
Yeah, I love that. And at least, and if, for me, I use the word peace of mind. Like, I am a much better person now that I have found tools and tactics to find peace every day. I don't know if I find joy, y'all. Yes. I don't know, but I'm at peace. I'm at peace. And that feels so much better than when I wasn't peaceful.
Ooh, child, yes.
So powerful stuff, and I'm glad. And again, this has kind of happened in every interview, Erica. Like, we turn it into these conversations. Mental health has come up a few times now. I love it, because this is some real talk that maybe we don't always get the chance to chit chat about with industry guests. So it's nice. So thank you for going there.
It is nice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to speak, and allowing me to meet you both and to see you, Brad. And this has been lovely.
Yeah, truly a pleasure to speak with you.
Yeah, Erica, we love you so much. We're cheering you on. Thanks for all your words of wisdom, and heart. We're making hearts right now for people who can't see, hearts with their hands. Thanks, Erica. Keep killing it. Erica is real and has obvious sympathy and compassion for the people she deals with on a day-to-day basis. And that's why she's successful. That is humbling, and that is important for me to learn. How about you? What did you take away?
I loved our discussion about the palate cleansers of the world, and how seeing an audition, because I've spent at this point more time casting than I have auditioning, and you see the occasional audition and it's so fresh, and it's like coffee beans when you're in the perfume store. It really just cleanses the whole palate for the day. But does it book? I don't know. She said she didn't know either. So never forget that you're also there to do justice to the scene and to bring the scene to life. It doesn't mean go wildly off piste in order to do something that's notable and is going to get attention. you always want to honor the truth of the situation. But if you can do that in a way that is so uniquely you and authentic and fresh and not like anyone else, then I think that's your best bet.
Yeah, and we're in a time now where different people, diverse people, off-kilter people, it's our time to shine. So really just be you, because now we're getting cast and now there are roles for us. That's powerful to know. You don't need to put it on, go over the top, try to appease what you think they want. If you're different right now on this earth, we are more respected and valued than ever. That's powerful.
Thank God, because I was feeling really disrespected for about 30 years.
Try being gay, Misha.
I'm a little gay.
What?
I mean, you didn't know that?
No, I'm so tickled you just shared that.
Yeah. I mean, I never know whether it's queer with a lowercase q or an uppercase q, but let me put it this way. I'm not straight.
I love that.
Yeah, no big deal.
No wonder we get along.
I told you to listen to the end for a very special surprise. And if you remember, I was recording in a closet. And sure enough, by the end of the episode, I came out of the closet. Thank you so much for listening to this very special episode with casting director Erica Hart and my former co-host Brett Epstein from my old podcast. Really enjoyed this interview, and if you want to check out my work as a writer-director, be sure to visit my website, mishacalvert.com. And if you want to know more about Vermilion and the coaching and educational opportunities that I have available through that company, I would love to talk with you. You can go to www.clubvermilion.com or drop me an email at info@clubvermilion.com. I do free phone consultations with basically anyone who schedules one. I don't know why more people don't take me up on this. It's free. You get free coaching from me. We talk. It's great. I would be so happy to hop on the phone with you if you want to know more about coaching. And we can see exactly what we need to do in order to make your creative dreams come true. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I will see you next week.